Okay, so my question was different. My question was a very simple statement which you made in the afternoon, and everyone agreed to that. Is that everything which exists in awareness is made of awareness?
Mi pregunta es sobre una afirmación que has hecho esta mañana y todo el mundo estaba de acuerdo, que todo lo que existe en la consciencia está hecho de consciencia.
I understand this conceptually and somewhat logically.
Entiendo esto conceptualmente de alguna manera lógicamente.
But not clear to the extent that it has become a realization for me.
Pero no es suficiente como para que sea una realización para mí.
And the test for that me is that if that were to happen, it will light up my world.
Excuse me, if
that realization were to happen as a true realization, it will light up my world. It will be different world. All this discussion that we're having about separate selves and diversity and multiplicity will collapse.
El test para saber si realmente vivo que todo está hecho de conciencia sería que todo mi mundo se iluminaría y todas las preguntas sobre el ser separado y la multiplicidad y diversidad desaparecerían, colapsarían.
Yeah, so a conceptual understanding therefore is not something that I'm happy with.
Así que no estoy contento con la comprensión conceptual.
Okay, so you understand that everything is made out of consciousness or knowing, but it's not your experience.
Así que entiendes que todo está hecho de conciencia, aunque esa no sea tu experiencia.
Point to something now in your experience that is not made of the knowing of it.
Señálame algo en tu experiencia que no esté hecho del conocer de la experiencia.
I can't point out to anything, but the analogy can be that is awareness illuminating something?
No puedo apuntar a nada, pero la analogía sería la conciencia está iluminando algo que existe.
Well, that's a different question.
Esa pregunta es distinta.
Your question was, I don't seem to experience everything as being made out of consciousness.
Tu pregunta era más, no parece que yo experimente que todo está hecho de conciencia.
So let's stick with that question.
Así que vamos a continuar con esa pregunta.
You claim that you are experiencing something other than the knowing of your experience.
No.
Something made out of something other than awareness.
Dices que estás experimentando algo que está hecho de algo que no es consciencia.
No, I'm not. It's clear to me that whatever I'm experiencing is the knowing of it. There is no other way of experiencing or knowing.
No, está claro para mí que todo lo que experimento es el conocer. No se puede experimentar sin conocer.
It is your experience that all of this is made only of knowing.
Entonces tu experiencia es que todo esto está hecho solo de conocer.
It is your experience that knowing is the only
means of knowing. Knowing is the only means of...
No, it's not just the only means of knowing. It is the only substance present in experience.
Mm-hmm.
O sea, que conocer está solo hecho de conocer. Y dice Rupert, no es la única forma de conocer. Realmente está solo hecho de conocer.
When you have a dream at night, the entire content of your dream is made out of your own mind.
Yes.
Cuando tienes un sueño por la noche, todo el contenido de tu mente está hecho de ese sueño.
Both the thoughts and feelings you have on the inside, but also the world you know on the outside.
Tanto los pensamientos y sentimientos que tienes en el interior como el mundo que ocurre en el exterior.
They're all made out of your own mind. They're all made out of knowing.
Todos están hechos de tu propia mente, todos están hechos de conocer.
Now, is it not your experience now that everything is made out of knowing?
¿No es tu experiencia ahora que todo está hecho de conocer?
Yes, it is.
Why do you have to invent another substance apart from knowing?
¿Por qué tienes que inventar entonces otra sustancia que no es el conocer?
When nobody has ever or could ever come across that substance.
Cuando nadie ha encontrado ni puede encontrar esa sustancia.
Nothing apart from knowing has ever been experienced.
Nada que no es conocer ha sido experimentado nunca.
And everything that is experienced can be explained on the basis of this knowing alone.
Y todo lo que es experimentado se puede explicar en base a este conocer.
In other words, the concept of matter, that is, everything outside knowing or consciousness,
En otras palabras, el concepto de la materia, todo lo que está
is
fuera
completely superfluous.
de la conciencia, es completamente
It
superfluo.
adds nothing to our culture
No añade nada a nuestra cultura,
apart from misery.
solamente miseria.
So we should use Occam's razor. You know Occam,
No.
Debemos usar la navaja de Occam.
William of Occam. When did he live? In the
William of Occam, alguien se
11th or 12th century. He was a philosopher who made a very simple statement of two competing theories.
Es un filósofo, que no sabemos bien cuándo vivió, pero hablaba de dos teorías que competían.
That we can't decide. Each of them seem equally plausible.
Y las dos parecían igualmente posibles.
We should always choose the theory that makes the fewest assumptions.
Y siempre debemos elegir la teoría que tiene el mínimo número de presupuestos, de asunciones.
So we should apply, it's called Occam's razor, because it's like this razor blade.
Se llama la navaja de Occam porque es como una navaja.
Is
De
the
afeitar.
mind perceiving the world, or is it projecting the world?
¿La mente está percibiendo el mundo o proyectando el mundo?
Is there anything apart from, which is another way of saying, is there anything apart from knowing in experience?
¿Hay algo que no sea conocer en la experiencia?
If we stay close to experience, knowing is the only substance we ever know.
Si nos mantenemos cercanos a la experiencia, el conocer es la única sustancia que conocemos.
Even if there was something outside knowing or consciousness called matter,
Incluso si hubiera algo fuera del conocer o la conciencia llamado materia,
we could never come in contact with that substance directly,
nunca podríamos entrar en contacto con esa sustancia directamente,
because our only knowledge of it would be the knowing of it.
porque nuestro único conocimiento de ello sería el conocerlo.
So if there is something called matter, it will be forever beyond our means of knowing it.
Así que si hubiera algo llamado materia, estaría siempre fuera de nuestra capacidad de conocerlo.
But do we need the concept of matter to explain anything in creation?
Pero ¿necesitamos el concepto de la materia para explicar algo en la creación? ¿Cualquier cosa en la creación?
No, if we use the Mary and Jane model,
No, si utilizamos el modelo de Mary y Jane,
we can see that from Jane's point of view, this seems to be an outside world made out of matter.
podemos decir que desde el punto de vista de Jane esto parece ser un mundo exterior hecho de materia,
Due to the subject-object relationship which is inherent in perception.
debido a la relación sujeto-objeto que es inherente a la percepción.
But even though that's the way things appear to be, still Jane's entire world is made out of Mary's infinite, indivisible mind.
Pero aunque parece que ocurre de esa manera, la mente de Jane está hecha solamente de la mente indivisible de
Why
Mary.
couldn't each of us be Janes? We're all Janes, different Janes.
¿Por qué no podríamos ser cada uno de nosotros Jane? Somos
Why
muchos
couldn't
Janes.
each of our minds be precipitated within the same infinite field of consciousness?
¿Por qué no podría cada una de nuestras mentes finitas ser precipitada dentro del campo infinito de la
So
conciencia?
each of our minds are like a window through which consciousness knows itself as the world.
Así que cada una de nuestras mentes es una ventana a través de la cual la conciencia ve el mundo.
Just like Jane's mind is a window through which Mary knows herself as the world.
Del mismo modo que la mente de Jane es una ventana a través de la cual Mary ve el mundo.
Nothing needs to change about our science. All the equations and everything of physics, they all still stand.
Nada tiene que cambiar en nuestra ciencia, todas las ecuaciones, todo todavía es válido.
But they are upgraded from laws of matter to laws of mind.
Pero lo elevamos de leyes de la materia a leyes de la mente.
Okay, thank you.
Here.
That was almost a satisfied okay.
Eso casi se ha sentido satisfecho.
That was a okay, I'll think about it, okay.
Es más bien, ok, lo voy a
That's fair
pensar.
enough. That's
Okay.
that's
Eso es suficiente.
you know, sometimes the teaching it doesn't just deliver understanding in a single experience. It delivers a seed. The teaching plants, and in fact this is more effective in some ways. The teaching plants a seed in us.
A veces la enseñanza no nos aporta la comprensión en el momento, sino que es como una semilla que se siembra, y eso es casi más eficaz.
And as long as we keep watering that seed with our interest and love,
Y mientras sigamos regando esa semilla con nuestro interés y amor,
the seed begins to grow from the inside.
la semilla empieza a crecer desde el interior.
And that is the safest way.
Y esa es la manera más segura.
I don't want to convince you that there isn't a world made out of matter.
Yo no te quiero convencer de que no hay un mundo hecho de materia.
I want to provoke you
Te quiero provocar
and disturb you
y molestar
and challenge all your certainties
y retar todas tus certezas
and to push you further and further into your own experience.
y empujarte más y más allá hacia tu propia experiencia.
In other words, to provide tools and pathways
O sea, darte herramientas y caminos
to explore this for yourself.
para explorar esto por ti mismo.
And it is my experience that the more we explore this perspective, which is just the perspective of experience,
Y es mi experiencia que cuanto más exploras esta perspectiva, que es una perspectiva de experiencia,
that this understanding gradually grows in us.
esta comprensión crece en nosotros,
And as this understanding grows, it begins to colonize more and more and more of our experience.
y a medida que crece va colonizando más y más de nuestra experiencia.
And I hope that there's no end to that process.
Y espero que no tenga final este proceso.
I still contemplate these matters. My mind is continually being this expanding sphere of exploration. It continues to expand in my mind, and my mind continues to be inspired by new understanding.
Yo sigo contemplando estos temas y mi mente continúa expandiéndose y es una esfera de expansión que continúa expandiéndolo.
I hope it will go on forever.
Y espero que continúe para siempre.